what you're gonna say. I can't believe what you're alluding to, Max. Let it out. Let it out. What are you trying to say?
He is going. This is my hot take. You just calm down. He is a great, great fighter. A good big man doesn't beat a great little man. It takes something more than a good big man to do that, and Lopez is more than just good.
Punches are not made, they are born. And this guy, Lopez, was born to punch. And he's got one other thing going for him, Steven and Max. He reminds me of Pacquiao, Lopez, in a way, not just with power in either hand, but his closing step, his ability to explode. You know, kind of like an athlete in football, basketball, any of those sports where it's not about running a 40. It's about the quickness. It's about the closing step, the burst. He's got that burst. Not everybody's got that burst.
Stephen A. Smith and Max Kellerman go head-to-head over Shakur Stevenson versus Teofimo Lopez, debating skill, power, experience, and overall resilience.
January 31st, Shakur Stevenson, Teofimo Lopez. I always say it, when boxing gets it right, no other sport comes close. And this is boxing getting it right. The best fighting the best. Both fighters believe that this matchup settles the argument about who leads the new era. So what do we think of the Styles matchup, guys? This is a high-speed chess match a la Sugar Ray Leonard or Pernell Whitaker, Leonard and Benitez, or Pernell Whitaker, Buddy McGirt, or is it a Jerry...
Stephen A. Smith praised Teofimo Lopez's sharp defense, highlighting his quick reflexes and ability to slip punches during tight, high-pressure exchanges.
Sure to show the world that at 23 years of age, I'm a champion, and you're going to have to come take this from me. I'm not giving you a damn thing. I loved his quickness. We know about Lopez's power, but I'm talking about his quickness defensively. But I saw Lopez being elusive, and I love that because it's one thing for you to have the power and the quickness to go along with the power offensively. A lot of guys can look good until they get hit. There were times where he got hit, and there were other times where he was slipping.
Interview Smith repeatedly points to Lopez's history of rising on the biggest stages, emphasizing that Teofimo is never intimidated by elite competition, citing his dominant victory over Vasily Lomachenko.
Lomachenko's footwork is exceptional. It's practically unrivaled. So you could see what he's done to numerous fighters, which contributed to them quitting, like Nicholas Walters and others. He tried that with Lopez. It didn't work. Lopez's footwork worked. His speed was there. Some power, obviously, but his elusivity is what impressed me most. The fact that he was able to slip a number, not all, but
he
a
turned
number
with
of those
Lomachenko.
pitches.
He wouldn't let Lomachenko establish his outside foot.
And I loved it.
Yeah, for me, coming into this fight, obviously I always talk to Max about fighting. I love it. I was thinking, and Lopez mentioned it pre-fight, everybody thought it was going to be very Mayweather-Canelo when they fought, and that he would be outclassed. If you look at the first 6 rounds, it was about patience. He was patient. He didn't rush himself. He used his jab, which is something that we aren't used to seeing him.
Teddy Atlas joined Stephen A. Smith and Max Kellerman, arguing that Teofimo Lopez now faces his toughest test against a top pound-for-pound fighter. Atlas stressed Shakur Stevenson's elite fundamentals, stating that Lopez's athleticism alone will not be enough against a technician of that caliber. He questioned what kind of challenge awaits Lopez this weekend.
Lies ahead for Lopez this upcoming weekend.
What challenge? The challenge of fighting, for me, my estimation, the pound-for-pound best fighter in the world. Either him or Crawford. You choose it doesn't matter. You can flip-flop either one of them. They're the 2 top guys. The challenge is to get his bomb to the target. Yeah, like Custom out of my mentor used to say, Teddy, having power is great, but if you don't have a means to get it to the target, it has no value. It's like a military weapon, he used to say. If you don't have a missile, it just blows up and makes a big hole in the ground. So that's the challenge. Get it to the target. Get it to the chin or the body. It might be a good idea with a guy who moves his head so much, but get it to the target with Lomachenko. So keep yourself together mentally with all that going on, with all the chaos stuff coming at you, and don't get discouraged. Don't get frustrated if he's hard to...
I've interviewed Kellerman consistently, emphasizes that Stevenson doesn't simply win fights, he neutralizes opponents. His footwork, distance management, and anticipation allow him to control the pace of nearly every bout.
Shakur is one of those guys and who comes along, and I think this is really the question about him. I said he is one of those guys. Is he one of those guys? Like Purnell, like Roy, like Floyd, their defenses were so good, and they boxed in a way where they weren't going to take unnecessary risks. They weren't running and holding. You know, I had a problem with the second half of the Haney-Norman fight because I felt like they continue to box. Purnell did, Roy did, and Shakur does now, right? But when a guy has those advantages in boxing skill and speed, and they don't take risks, they are almost impossible to beat. So no matter who Purnell was fighting, no matter who Roy was fighting, if someone would have asked me who they're going to be, they're fighting Godzilla, Purnell. They're fighting Roy. Shakur has that look to me, and the style to me.
He acknowledged that both fighters are highly skilled, but pointed out that Shakur Stevenson is not a knockout puncher, arguing that Shakur wins through precision, defense, and control rather than raw power.
What's here is that they're both twitchy, they're both fast, they're both excellent boxers. Teo's a puncher. I know it hasn't shown up in recent fights, but we have watched both of their careers. Shakur is not a puncher.
No.
Teo is.
Teo it can be an explosive, I hit you with a shot
And
you
you're
don't
out
see,
cold type,
and you are out cold type puncher.
And talking about power, strength too. I think Teo's going to be the much stronger guy in there. Shakur Stevenson's not a strong guy.
I think he's getting stronger.
Me too. I was about to say.
Definitely
But this is his first fight at 140 though. That's what I'm saying. I'm not disrespecting
I
his
feel
strength.
like, but I also feel like that Shakur might surprise you, Mike, with his physical strength. Physical strength, as we all know, doesn't always translate to punching power.
Sure, of course not.
But when he was a younger fighter, he looked like he could be moved around by his opponent. It doesn't look like that anymore.
Yeah, no, he's definitely matured in his body. But first fight at 140, Teo's what? I think this is maybe his fifth fight at 140?
Yeah.
Something like that?
That's true, but Shakur has a frame where he can put on 140 very comfortably.
Review Max Kellerman notes that Stevenson enters the fight with more at stake, due to his technical reputation and undefeated record. Teofimo, meanwhile, has more to gain as the underdog, where pressure is lower and opportunity is greater, making the matchup dangerous and unpredictable.
Is there an advantage there where Shakur is fighting to protect that perfect record, to protect that kind of sense that he's the next guy? On the other hand, Teo is like he can fight with more abandon against Shakur because there's so much for him to gain. And if he loses, he's lost before. He's lost to Cam.
Stevenson has openly discussed how important this fight is to him, framing it as a chance to prove he belongs among the very best pound-for-pound fighters.
People think the fight with Teo is either going to be you delivering a masterclass
or a knockout by Teo.
Yeah, or you getting into some type of brawl with Teo and end up getting knocked out, right? What are fans getting wrong about the matchup?
I think the fans is getting wrong about the matchup is where I'm not sleeping on that I know about Teo. Teo's a good boxer. He's boxer first. So we could say, oh, he's just going to knock you out. Or he's just going to... That's not him. He's boxing first. He's going to want to establish distance and range on the outside and try to beat me up on the outside. So I think that's the main thing. And also the biggest thing that everybody don't realize with me, I can punch. Everybody say, oh, he can't punch, and then boom, crack somebody, and then they laying down, or something may happen to where they hurt or something like that. So I think that's too big.
Many analysts view Shakur Stevenson versus Teofimo Lopez as a compelling tactical chess match where strategy, energy management, and timing could determine the winner.
I don't think that Shakur is going to come out and try to fight or take the fight to Teo in the first 6 rounds at all. So if he's fighting off the back foot, if Teo can make it so that he's convincingly, or he's convinced at least Shakur that he may have won 4 of the first 6 rounds, you know, if it's 4-2 in Shakur's mind going into the second half of the fight, or if I'm looking at him stealing those first 6 rounds, then it's an interesting fight going into the tail end, because Teo, to me, is a front runner, right? I want to see if he can carry his energy and his explosiveness late in the fight and not wear down. And then when Shakur starts to open up, you know, can you steal some of those championship rounds from him and make it like a close fight? I think if Teo comes out and does what he usually does, which is try to swarm Shakur early and keep Shakur on the defensive early, then he can try to steal a lot of those early rounds. And if he does